Great.
Are you in
How's
Halifax
everyone?
now?
No, I'm back home in Ottawa.
A brief stop at home?
Yeah, no, I
Or
had a brief, yes, I was in Vancouver for 5 days and then a brief stop at home. And then I went to Halifax.
oh, and you're already back, I see.
Yeah, all the kids are
Nice.
safely deposited at their university residences.
Awesome.
Crossing fingers, if I don't hear from them, that's a good thing, right?
Got enough other stuff to worry about right now.
You guys tell me, is that a good thing or?
Oh yeah. I don't think I called my parents for like 2 weeks in school, and
Probably normal, I think. So I think we're waiting for a few other folks to join us. But maybe we'll start a roll call. So I wanted to just welcome everyone to the meeting this morning. This is our first official meeting. We had a meeting a week or so ago, 2 weeks now, just to introduce everyone introduce ourselves to each other. But this is really our first meeting where we begin to start some of the work in developing a terms of reference and some roles, and also developing our youth statement for presenting at the General Assembly of the 4-H Global Digital Summit, which is going to be happening tomorrow. So I know a lot of you are up early or up very, very late to this meeting, and I really appreciate that on behalf of the organizers in Korea, as well as us in Canada and our Taiwanese partners too, who helped organize the summit. Really appreciate you guys being able to flex your time and come to this meeting at 3:30 in the morning, Katie, and I don't know how late it is for some of you folks in other parts of the world. And so I think what we'll do to start is a bit of a roll call, because I do want to make sure that everyone is on the call today. And so maybe we'll go by region. So we'll start with Latin America and the Caribbean. So who do we have on the call today?
Hi, good morning, Jamaica, Shahida. Hi.
Hi, Shahida.
How are you, Shahida?
I'm good. And how is everybody else doing this morning?
We're doing well.
I see a few other tired faces.
Okay.
So if you are doing a roll call, if you try to turn your camera on, that would be wonderful so we could see you. Jose, are you here?
I don't think he is yet. I'll shoot him a message on Instagram, maybe.
Okay. And Guillermo, I see that you're here.
Hi.
Hi, Guillermo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so we'll wait on Jose. What about Africa? Who's here representing Africa?
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, Doris.
Hello.
Do you want to give a small introduction, Doris?
Okay, so, well, I'm Doris from western part of Africa, West Africa, Ghana to be precise. And, well, Ghana is a peaceful country and Africa is a nice place to be. So that's a little I can say for now.
Perfect. Thanks, Doris. I'm glad you could be here. Atakunda, are you here? I don't think so. I don't see her. Okay, and Hatibu.
I'm shooting him a message right now as well.
Okay, thanks, Logan. What about Asia? Who do we have on the call from Asia?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, one at a time.
It's 6:35 p.m. in Taiwan right now.
Perfect. And when I introduce you, Shirley, do you want me to introduce you with your Taiwanese name or your other name, Shirley?
It's okay to introduce me with Shirley.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, who else do we have?
From Asia, me.
Yeah. Hi, Dongyoung.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm great. Is Mutiara here? I don't see Mutiara on the line from Indonesia. Okay. And then from Europe. Who do we
Nice and
have?
all of our Europe folks.
Joanna? I see you. Sort of.
Oh, on now.
Hi, Joanna.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, thanks. I'm really great. It's great. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late.
That's okay. What time is it for you?
1:30.
Okay. Okay, so Joanna from Finland is here and Marissa from Kosovo. We've been emailing back and forth, but we haven't seen her on a call yet. Okay. So I will reach out to those folks. Logan, you're doing a little bit of that right now. Megan, are you?
And Hatibu both say they're trying to get on, so hopefully we'll see them very shortly.
Who? Hatibu?
Jose and Hatibu.
Okay. I'm just sending this message to in a chat. Okay. Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Oh, sorry, Megan.
I couldn't tell actually if this was Logan or Megan because he cut out a little bit there.
I heard the end of the name and I just assumed. My bad.
Well, I think you can introduce yourself, Logan. Go ahead.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Logan. I think I met most of you last meeting. I'm Canada's representative. Happy to be on the call with all of you again this morning. Looking forward to getting to know each of you a bit more and doing some work with you guys.
Great, thanks, Logan. And then our folks from the US.
You got it, Katie.
Okay, I was like, yeah, I'm Katie. I'm from the US, the southwest of the US.
And it's very early in the morning for you.
Yes.
Good morning or good evening. My name is Dylan Gentry. I'm from the southeastern part of the United States and excited today.
Thanks, Dylan. Great to have you join us. What time is it for you, Dylan?
So I'm on the central US time zone, so it is 5:30.
All right. Okay. And then Megan, do you want to come back on and just introduce you. There are a few folks also on the line today who are just helping in terms of organizing and supporting you folks as the first ever Global 4-H Youth Committee. So that's pretty cool.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Megan. I'm here in Toronto, and I work at 4-H Canada doing our youth programs. So just helping out today.
Thanks for being with us. And there are a few folks, I think, on the call from 4-H Korea. Did you want to introduce yourselves? Maybe, I'm not sure if you want to or not. So maybe we'll just, oh, they can't talk. Okay, they're just organized. We're in the background. Okay, well then I guess we'll get started. It's too bad not everyone can join us today. We will do follow-ups to find out what happened with those folks. I'm hearing an echo on my end, so hopefully that's not too bad for you guys. Now that we've all sort of done more formal introductions, in our agenda today, we have about an hour and a half, and there are a few things that we need to work on. One of them is the youth statement, to prepare that as a group together in terms of what you folks as the global representatives for youth members around the world, what you would like to present at the General Assembly tomorrow in terms of the things that you want to share, the things that you care about, the things that you feel 4-H represents for you, and how you would like to present that and articulate that to the world, to the 4-H movement globally. So that's one of the big pieces that we have to work on today. The other thing that we could possibly do is elect a chair and a vice chair. Now, because this is the first ever committee, we don't have a terms of reference yet. So that's another thing that we could be working on in terms of like, what is your purpose? What do you want this committee to be working on, to be doing? What is your role? And so sometimes it helps to elect a chair and a vice chair to sort of keep things organized and keep the flow of the meetings going. So the chair tends to facilitate those meetings, and the vice chair would support that process as well. And maybe you folks together could define sort of what those two specific roles might be. So I'm not sure if we wanted to do that today first, or if you wanted to do the youth statement and start working on that. One idea is that if you did elect a chair and a vice chair, they could be the folks who read the statement tomorrow. But that's also very much up to you. I don't want to be sort of the adult here defining what your committee does. And so it's really important that you guys kind of talk about that and figure out what it is you'd like to do and how you want to structure this committee. It is a non-voting committee, so it's an advisory committee. So that's something to keep in mind. We don't need to be super formal and official about it, but we do need to, figure out how often you want to meet, when you would like to meet, and who's going to run those meetings. So I'm going to just sort of open it up to you folks to have that discussion. And let me know. And Megan and I are going to be taking notes as you're discussing things so that we have the outcomes and we can send those notes out to you folks as sort of your committee notes from the discussion today. Does that make sense?
For sure.
Okay, so I guess first thing is, would you like to elect a chair and a co-chair or vice chair? And how would you like to do that? And second thing is the youth statement.
I think it might be helpful if we are able to work on the youth statement first. I'm not sure what you guys think. I mean, we're all pretty new to each other, so maybe if we had a bit of time to kind of work with each other and see any dynamics that the group kind of comes up with, might let us know each other a little better and give us an idea of who we might actually want to elect as a chair or vice chair if we go that route.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Well, I also agree because getting to know write our use statements will help us know each other more and better, and that will help us elect our chair and then our vice chair.
Okay.
Everybody sound good with that? Do we want to go ahead and start working on a statement together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Katie said, thumbs up if that sounds good. We can all see. Okay. Doris, you're good with that?
Yeah, I'm
Sounds
good.
Okay, perfect.
If we're going ahead with the youth statement, are Aaron, Megan, are you guys going to be taking notes on that as well as we kind of draft something, or should one of us?
No, I think we can take notes. Megan, are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm taking notes. If anyone else wants to make their own notes to have them to add, that's fine too, but I'll try to capture everything.
That's perfect. I think it was at the last meeting, there were some sample statements that had been previously made that I think Megan attached to the meeting. So you guys should have those. If you don't have them, we could probably resend them, but they're just to give you an idea of what's been developed in the past by youth. Does everyone have access to those?
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, I could briefly read like the most recent one for everybody, and it might just refresh it for everybody and give some ideas of what it has looked like in the past and maybe some things we could kind of start with. So the most recent one was from 2019, and it starts with Global 4-H Youth members at the sideline of Global 4-H Youth Leadership Camp would like to proclaim 2019 Global 4-H Youth Jeju Declaration on global issues such as agriculture, poverty, environment, and youth development. We, on behalf of the youth all around the world, believe that we are equipped with the strength to change the world in a positive manner. We promise to commit ourselves to mutual prosperity of our 4-H, our community, our nation, and our world to aim at world peace through 4-H programs. We commit ourselves to collaborate with the public, private, and nonprofit sectors to successfully achieve sustainable development goals of the UN in fighting poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, and in respecting world peace, co-prosperity, and global justice. We encourage more opportunities and better infrastructure where 4-H youth around the world can maximize their talents and full potential. We urge for the establishment of 4-H Youth Committee under Global 4-H Network, where youth are committed to take active roles in decision-making, planning, conducting, and evaluating various global 4-H programs. So it kind of touched on a lot of things, but most of it is talking about how 4-H is going to actually push for advancement in protection from climate change and UN Sustainable Development Goals, pushing for those. I think that's a really important thing that 4-H can do around the world. Are there any things that people felt like were missing from that statement at all? Hey, Jose.
Hey.
Just to catch you up to speed, we're discussing the last youth statement made in 2019 and discussing maybe some things from it that we'd like to include in this year's youth declaration and anything that maybe we should be adding to it.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. I'm sorry that I got delayed.
No worries. Glad to have you here now.
Can I just step in? I want to make sure, Guillermo, are you understanding everything? Because a little bit. Okay. Because your translator has just arrived. So if you have questions, you need to go back and forth with Jose, okay? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Logan. Go for it. Keep going.
Any parts of that people think we really should be including, or any of it that seems like a good starting point to people?
I would like to maybe add something because I think that COVID-19 is now significantly disrupted the education and impact the education. So I think, and as youth, we really care about our education. And during the school closures, I think the education went online and has a lot of pressure placed on young people, and we have to keep up with lessons online. So I think what can I do? What can we do online for learning other things? I think it's necessary that we should encourage the youth to engage with and learn through the real life situations. Although it's online courses, but we can now know about a lot of things through the internet, and we can know how to face with that in the future. And maybe it can connect it with the enable the youth to develop visions for more sustainable futures. So I think that's my opinion. Because we are facing the COVID-19 situations.
No, I definitely agree with education. I was trying to think because it does talk about issues, like it focuses on issues more than like solutions. But I think like STEM education has been a push in the US. And then definitely with COVID, that just completely changed all education. So really talking about inequalities in education would be a good thing to kind of add to that ongoing list they have of like sustainable issues, poverty, things like that.
To also add that from where I come from, Ghana to be precise, COVID came as a surprise to everybody, but it really hit us very hard in the sense that most of the youth now, talking about education again, now we had to go on technology, going to study online, and it was very difficult as some parts of the country or some parts of the continent, some parts of Africa were not used to technology. Some too were having internet challenges, and then you realize that the youth were behind. They were not trying to catch up with the other colleagues from other continents. So as youth and where we find ourselves, technology is very important. And the fact that we do not have resources to catch up in terms of a situation like this where we find ourselves in terms of COVID. So I don't know how we could include this in our statements, but technology hit us when COVID came around, and we realized how far we are behind as a nation or as a continent. And it really affected the youth because most people then did not have what to do. Now, because students were not studying, students were not schooling, now some tend to be, engaging themselves into some vices that was not comfortable. Some were getting pregnant, and some's future were put, on the line at a point. So that's my little I can add to it.
My thought was that the Declaration doesn't have a strong enough diversity and inclusivity statement, that as a global committee that we're interested in approaching all types of people from every walk across multiple different diversity indicators and measurements.
I think both those are really good. I think possibly, Dylan, we could even have our own inclusivity statement for the committee. What's anybody think about that?
I really like that. Basically, my point of view in regards to what I have heard and what I was thinking as well is when I was in Canada, I had the opportunity to learn from one of the girls over there that you guys have a platform, a fully platform where basically you have a lot of courses depending on what topic are you interested on. So I ask myself why doesn't all the community 4-H community have access to this? And she said, well, uh, right there actually it is available for everybody. So I said, well, basically the problem is the lack of publicity for it, because even though we have a huge resource that the one that the 4-H Canada already worked on, but we're not being making publicity enough for people to use it, or for showing people how to use it, and then we will be able to start dynamizing the community by checking new courses based on their needs, and also to teaching them in regards to avoid the breaches for the countries that have lack of technology or that don't have access to the technology as much as we wanted to. So I believe that if we maybe center our speech, or actually change a little bit in regards towards, like our folk from Taiwan was saying, using the technology to join us, and but making like a guide and a guide, how can I say, like a guide joint. Everybody will be able, okay, this is what we have. If you would like to participate, or you would like to learn more about this, then these are the steps. You will have guidance, you will have counseling, so feel free to reach out. And that's the way that we start uniting, bonds, creating bonds.
I think that's really good. And I think there are some platforms already that 4-H kind of did create after the 2017 summit that is focused on doing a lot of that sharing, what resources we have available. And I think there's a lot of work still to be done to make sure they are accessible to everybody, and that there are as many resources available through them as possible. And that is absolutely something that we can take action on as our youth committee, I think, if that's something we want to do, which I think is really great. I'm starting to just kind of take notes of what everybody's saying, and like think about what that means for our statement. I think the biggest points so far I've heard are connection, and that kind of matters both with the COVID-19 situation, connection between countries, so 4-H can kind of prosper and use what other 4-H programs have to offer. Education is a huge one, and inclusivity. I think those are the three biggest points we've touched on. And I think those really kind of grasp almost everything from COVID-19 to making sure education is available to people in different situations, and minimizing those gaps between different communities. Does everybody agree with that to a certain extent?
I do.
So to kind of maybe focus in and at least get a start on what this statement looks like, do we want to maybe start by saying that our Global 4-H Youth Committee wants to take focus on important matters to 4-H members in a changing world from COVID-19? Is that, or we could just say in a changing world, because that encompasses maybe a little bit more, and then say with regards to the inclusivity of the 4-H program, access to information for all members, and connection between 4-H programs. I think that's a good place to start, and then we can kind of elaborate on any of those points after that.
I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I'm not sure if we're to this place yet, but would it be beneficial for one of us to create like a Google Doc that we can all see, copy and paste the most recent one, so we have the same template, and then just adjust wordsmith until we like to where we're at? Did that make sense?
What
I
I
was
was
thinking the
thinking,
same thing.
what I was gonna say is maybe if Megan is drafting something anyhow, if she could maybe share her screen, that way it's only one person editing it, and then maybe we'll have a few less cooks in the kitchen per se, and we can talk about what we want to see in that statement. Is that something that could happen, Megan? If you're drafting a statement anyways, would you be able to share your screen?
Yeah, I think so. I was just actually thinking of putting it into a Google Doc anyways, so that is good.
If a Google Doc is what we want to do, I want to make sure that's an availability to everybody before we go that route.
Yeah, I can do shared screen. Just give me 1 second.
Is everyone able to use Google Docs?
Is that a platform people are familiar with?
Because I will say we only have about another half hour for this actual meeting. So I think, I don't want us to rush through this, but I think you guys are doing fantastic in terms of getting some of these main ideas down, and Megan will keep taking notes and maybe circulate this after the meeting. And then if you guys all have some time to kind of keep going back and forth on it, I do need to get it over to Korea today sometime so they can have a copy of it before the General Assembly. But I think that's a really good plan. We won't be able to, totally finish it in this time. So a Google Doc, if everyone can access that, is great, and Megan will circulate that.
Can you all see my screen?
I can.
Okay, so I'll circulate this after, but for now, I do think this way, because I was gonna mention, Logan, you had a great, Global 4-H Committee wants to take matters on, and then I lost it. So if you also want to correct anything I'm typing, that might be helpful. Okay.
The other thing I would say, just jumping in, is that in the previous statement that Logan read, they did have a call to action, or a couple different calls to action. And I think that's what you folks are starting to generate too, is we want to say all of these things that matter to us, but there are a couple actual specific calls to action that we would like to see happen. And one of the outcomes of that call to action was the formation of the youth committee. So that was a very specific thing that they put in their statement. And this committee is the outcome of that. So it's a really good example to say, sort of, thank you. This has come out of young people sort of putting it out there to say this is something that we want to see for the 4-H movement globally. And so, yeah, I think some recognition of that would be probably good in this statement. And then also just to keep in mind that, things do come out of these things. So it's not just going to be a thing that's read and then nobody listens to. It's something that the 4-H community takes very seriously. So I think you're on a great track. Just keep going.
Yeah, I think, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Katie.
I was just gonna say, we're still writing it down, but so I think that's why we haven't added it in there yet. But there's a lot of good points that they made along issues along climate change, global issues such as agriculture, poverty. So I personally think it'd be great to keep those issues that they've already pinpointed in there.
Absolutely. So I think not that we should end the meeting quite yet, but I think that maybe we don't necessarily need to have a completely polished statement at the end of this meeting if we're able to share that Google Doc to everybody. And then I think the one other thing that has been mentioned, Jose, you brought up in an email the possibility of having a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Is
basically,
WhatsApp platform
I
that's
haven't-
available to everyone as well?
Yeah, I wanted to check on that first, and also to make sure that everybody agrees, because I received some of the numbers, but I didn't know if everybody wanted to be part or if everybody can do it. So before I did it, and now that we are here, I don't know if everybody wants to talk about that. Would everybody agree on that? And did everybody send their numbers?
Shirley, I know you said earlier that WhatsApp, you can get on WhatsApp. That is an option for you.
I've already downloaded and I sent my phone number to Jose. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So
is anybody else on the call not knowing what we're talking about in terms of the WhatsApp group? Did everybody see that email chain? Awesome.
okay,
Sorry,
so
go ahead.
as soon as we finish the meeting, then I will place the group in place. And hopefully if we have or need any other doubt, we can communicate through there. So we put those ideas into the Google Docs.
And as a
Sounds
follow,
good.
I'll reach out to the folks who weren't able to be on the call today, and I'll let them know that that's an option if they want to join into that.
All right.
I think that's the other reason this Google Doc is a great option, is because obviously we are missing some key parts of our committee since we aren't all here, and it hopefully will give them an opportunity to provide some of their ideas as well. In terms of a deadline, Aaron, I'll make sure, like, I'll personally put myself forward in making sure that we have a kind of clean, polished statement. What is your deadline for getting it to someone, and therefore what will be our deadline for getting it to you?
I'm just going to ask Korea if you could put in the chat the deadline that you need this final statement provided to you, and then we'll go from there. So Byung or Sangwon, if you're on the call, if you could just put in the chat what time you need this from us.
While we're waiting on that, Jose, maybe could you give at least some update to Guillermo, make sure he's on the same page, and ask if he has anything he would like to provide?
Yeah, actually, we've been talking through the phone, so I've been telling him what we're discussing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Jose.
By the way, I think we also have to look for, or I don't know if you guys already decided that, the person who's gonna read it out through the assembly chat. Have you guys discussed that already while I wasn't
Haven't yet. Should we just take any offers, or we can do a kind of a nomination process too, if anybody would like to participate? I know Jong-Yun did a great job yesterday hosting, so maybe you want some more screen time?
No.
Okay, Dylan said he's interested. Is anybody else interested too?
Anybody?
So, and the other thing is, I don't think we need it to be just one person. If we want to have a couple of people, that's okay. And the idea of electing a chair and a co-chair or a vice chair, I think for now, because the group is not complete yet, not everyone is here on the call. I think maybe we should defer that to another meeting. What do you guys think?
Is everybody okay with that? We could also potentially, if we want to, before next meeting, put a call out and people could send in like maybe a little bio if they're interested in running for either of those positions.
I would be okay if at this meeting we said by a certain date, if you're interested, send Aaron an email saying, hey, I'm interested in chair, or hey, I'm interested in vice chair, or both. Here's a little bit about me and why I think I'd be a good job. do a good job at it. And then at the next meeting, we present those and vote.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that process too. That's great.
So I think it might be helpful. I know we discussed meeting every 2 months, but maybe just at the start of our committee meeting next month, just so we can really get the ball rolling on things and make sure we all have what this committee is to everybody figured out. Is meeting anytime in October an availability for people?
I think that would be good.
That's no problem.
So-
I think you're right. It's great to build on the momentum that we have. So, and also make sure that everyone else can be included. So Megan and I will set up some options for times and dates and send that out to everyone.
As for a date, if we are meeting in October, just setting a date that we all can have as a deadline to send in descriptions. Does just the end of this month, September 30th, make sense to everybody? Yeah.
You
So
said
you mean
September 30th?
So
Yeah, the 30th. I think that is that lots of time and for everybody, and then, or maybe is that too far away? It might get out of sight, out of mind for a little bit. I'm not sure.
Is that, Logan, do you mean for sending, if you're interested in being chair or co-chair?
Yeah, sorry. As a deadline to send in descriptions or interest in those positions.
Yeah, I think it would be great if we had that all figured out before the next meeting, because then those folks could start into their roles. And it gives some time for us to explain all that to the people who aren't on the call. So that works.
Also, I believe that once we create the WhatsApp group, we can also sort of start talking between us and determine whether anybody has any preference or why that person should be the, in each role. So I think that that's an option too.
I think the more connection we have through that WhatsApp group, the better we'll get to know everybody and might make the voting process that much easier. I think we should do the voting process in person. I think that's still best for the formality of our committee. I'm not sure what everybody thinks about that.
I think it might be easier whether we do it at a meeting or we just do it like in the middle before next meeting to kind of have like a survey online. So everyone can just put their preferences and it tallies it up automatically.
Does that work for everybody? Awesome.
We can definitely organize that. That's no problem.
All right. Thanks so much, Aaron.
Meantime, can we finalize who's going to be presenting tomorrow? Because I think we need to supply those names as well to Korea.
Yes, I'm very willing to share.
Okay, so we have Dylan. Is there anyone else who wants to join Dylan in presenting?
I was just going to say, I think someone outside of North America would be great too, to have multiple regions.
Then I'll do.
Okay.
What I was going to ask, I know that a lot of the opening ceremonies, Junghyun and Shirley, they were done both in English as well as Korean or Thai. I apologize. Not. Would it be helpful to? I know the last statement was done in both English and I believe Korean. Would it be helpful to present it as well if a lot of the viewership of the General Assembly is not English speaking? I'm not sure.
I think that's.
What are your thoughts on that, Aaron?
It's a really cool idea. I think that you could say a few lines in other languages if you wanted to, if the presenters have those skills. But I will say that the working language of this summit is English, so people are understanding if it is only going to be in English. So it's up to you guys really how you want to do that.
I think we could do like the introduction in English and then Korean if we want to, or another language, just the introduction. If that's okay with everybody.
Sounds good. And I think it's probably helpful again, maybe if we just have our published option, like published statement translated rather than maybe doing it live, because I think that's a good option as well. Does that make sense?
I have some question that, so the speaker will be two, right?
Yes.
Then we speak at the same time, or Dylan speak English and then I speak Korean? How we can speak together at the same time?
I think, yeah, either if we're just doing the intro in Korean, Dylan could do the intro and then you could kind of restate it, same thing. Or if we're just presenting in English, both you and Dylan definitely could just take turns and present that way.
Because it's going to be live, so you will have to figure out which parts you're going to say and which parts Dylan is going to say. And so, yeah, I agree, Logan. If you're going to say like an intro in both languages, you'll have to repeat it after. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, it will be like that live translation, let's say.
Okay.
But not at the same time. I think that would be confusing. I think it has to be after the other.
It wouldn't make sense for just looking at the document. The first paragraph, the first true paragraph is in my best guess, Korean. That may not be Korean. And then the next paragraph is English. It wouldn't make sense for it to be read in Korean first, like it is on the document, and then me read it second in English and go like that all the way down until we finish.
Okay, I got it.
From a time standpoint, is that too much, Aaron?
I think that might be. I'm just going to ask in the chat how long you have for the statement.
Sounds good. And we can discuss that as long as we know that Dylan and Jungyan are going to be our presenters. I think we'll maybe have more information once we have our finalized statement, and maybe our statement's really long and therefore we only want to do it in English for the sake of time. Or hopefully we can keep it concise and then we'd be able to present it in both. How's that sound to everybody? Before we end this call, does anybody have anything else that like is front of mind they want to make sure gets added into that document before it slips away and we're working on it on our own?
I was just gonna say, so it's easier when we're all adding in our thoughts. Like I want to help after I get a little sleep. But like if it just needs to be added in, like you can add it in as normal. But one thing that helps if you like need to tweak someone so that it like makes sense coming together. If you switch from editing to like the suggesting, that can help a lot for when there's a lot of writers. Awesome. Megan's on it. Giving a demo.
Maybe just to like kind of streamline it, I think like we could use most of the document as like a huge brainstorm, but maybe if we have part of the document that is going to be the official statement, if we only have one or two people working on the official statement, that way it's kind of all in one writing style, and that might be helpful. I'm not sure what people think about that. And then it'll be just one or two people's job to make sure that everything that is in the brainstorm gets encapsulated or like captured properly in the official statement.
Or what if you had sort of a just among the committee like a deadline so that everyone can feed into it by a certain time, and then at that point, there's just a couple of people who are editing and fine tuning the final version. Does that make sense? Because I would want to make sure that everyone has a chance to feed into this, even if they're, not necessarily talking right now, but they may have thoughts and ideas after the call that they want to put into it.
Yeah, that's a good option. So on the Google Docs, everybody can start its statement by the name, so everybody knows who wrote it, and then whether it's one or two people, the ones who are gonna put in place the final declaration, then they're gonna make sure to take all the thoughts involved.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And is everyone able to work on this today, like to dedicate a little bit of time in contributing to this? Just maybe let us know in the chat if you don't have time. Otherwise, we're going to assume that you can contribute a little bit to this after the call today. I think it would be good. You were asking Logan if there were other things to add to it. I think it would be good to explain a little bit about this committee. So who you are and how you're structured, and not that we have all those answers yet, but the representation by region, and that kind of like just a bit of context at the beginning of who you are would be probably helpful. And then I also just heard back from the organizers that you have about 5 minutes to present. So that's a pretty good chunk of time.
Yeah, for sure. So I think maybe it'd be ideal if people just shared their ideas on kind of what they see this committee's main focus is, or what it kind of means to them in here, because I feel like we don't have like a for sure true identity yet, and it might be helpful to get a bit more idea of that as the actual team before we are spitballing ideas in a Google Doc.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's a few minutes that we could do some of that right now if you guys want to kind of share what you think the role and purpose of this committee should be.
When people were applying to the committee, what were they really hoping to get out of it? Or what were they hoping the committee would do? Any ideas?
I believe we have or the way that I saw it when I was told about this committee was basically me as a young person have the possibility to determine the road of certain things that are in our way to process in the way that we want. And another thing was the expectations. Me as a young, what expectation do I have? In order to see it like in order to see it done in the world, how and what would I like to see? So when I thought about that, then a lot of brainstorming start happening, and then you can start determining whether it should be a call to action with deadlines, or whether it should be support to council, whether it should be any a lot of ideas. So basically, maybe we start asking ourselves like, what expectations do we have from this? What are the outcomes that we expected to achieve? The answers will be faster to get, and then we can have a larger brainstorm.
What if we went person by person, and everybody could share sort of one or two thoughts or ideas.
For sure.
Yep.
Megan and I will just write down. So it's just a brainstorm. Like, what do you want to get out of this committee? What do you think your role should be? What's the purpose? What's success for you being part of this committee?
Sure, I can go. So in my career in 4-H, I worked with the Globalizing Extension Innovation Network, which focuses on how different extension systems in different countries operate compared to the U.S. system. So coming in to this committee, I was really excited to learn about how 4-H is operated and what 4-H looks like in different countries around the world. So kind of a learning opportunity for me.
Yeah, I liked what Jose said earlier about connection. There's a lot of great things that different parts of 4-H do around the world, and they do really well. So getting to learn from each other, the resources that some areas have that other areas don't know about, and being able to do some initiatives like that so that we can share and, like Dylan was saying, learn from each other.
Well, I have actually believed in that the fact that the youth is the strength of the society, and I've picked up leadership roles right from senior high school days through to the university, and being a part of 4-H or joining this group, I was expecting us to learn more skills that will make me be a better person and an impact in my society. So meeting up people, learning more about them, learning more about what others have, and then how to impact it in where I come from. Yeah.
Well, for me, in Jamaica, when we have organizations like these, we tend to have like a committee like this, and then we discuss, we define what we want to do. Like, or we're going to be a committee about, I don't know, agriculture, for instance. So when I was joining and applying for this committee in particular, I was thinking that we would be a body that would connect globally on a particular topic, and then individually for our regions or our countries, we would have our own specific project where we would do something for the country and then report to the committee or progress on everything that we're doing. So we actually are creating, impacting dialogue, having a dialogue internationally with different people, but still creating an impact where we are in our own areas or our own regions. So that is what I was thinking that the committee was about. And what I don't know if anybody is in agreement with that. We could discuss, maybe try to create a program for each, like in my area or something like that, with students or children, and then we report back to the committee every month or every 2 months on the progress. And in the US, Canada, so on and so forth, you have your own thing. So we're talking here amongst each other, but we're trying to define other things in our own countries too. So that's what I have to say.
Joanna, we haven't heard much from you. Anything you want to add?
It's kind of just the same as all of you have said. So, but I'm really happy to know what 4-H is like all over the world, because it's not the same in Finland as it is in Canada or Korea or anything like that. And what the opportunities for 4-Hers are in the whole world, and what the youths can do in 4-H. That's why I'm here, kind of.
Who else hasn't had a chance to share? Shirley, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm having the same thoughts as other people. I think it's very important to share our own experience. So every region, they have different project or different program. I think it's like in Taiwan, we have a lot of camp to like to train the teenagers or the youth to have the ability to face some problems or to deal with that kind of problem. So I think it's very good to hear other countries share their 4-H programs, like what's their programs like.
Guillermo, what are your thoughts?
I told him to let me know so I could translate, but I don't know if he's doing it already.
He's there. What do you think, Guillermo?
Vou lá.
Hola.
Hi. Hola.
Tá. Acredito que o José me ajude aí.
Sim, eu posso.
Porque 4-H, Amazon, né? Muito novo.
Porque, because 4-H is still new in Brazil.
Pensamos de floresta amazônica, temos que pensar em sustentabilidade e alimentação saudável.
We have to think about the deforestation that is happening in the Amazon, and we have to think about sustainability and how to feed the upcoming people, the newborns.
Desenvolver tecnologias que possam dar frutos para o futuro, né? E não acabar com os nossos recursos de agora. Pensar no futuro.
He wants us to think about the future and to learn how to save the resources and using the technology as an ally to make sure to spread the word.
E é isso. Obrigado. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Guillermo. That's great. Is there anyone else who hasn't shared a few thoughts around the role of this committee? Jong-Yong.
Yeah, I also, others thought about it. I also wanted to join here to learn about the 4-H program through all other countries too. So it is quite honored to be here. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing a lot of commonalities of like everybody really wants to learn about how 4-H runs around the world. And I think that might be pretty similar, not just for us, but lots of other people who applied for this committee or even just are involved in 4-H. So I think maybe what I was hoping for from the committee is not just be advisory, but like actually push towards action that that there is good connectivity between 4-H programs and opportunities for 4-H programs to connect. I think that's a really vital way that 4-Hers can learn about different parts of the world is through 4-H connections. Also, I think that the one thing I think this committee can do really well is advocacy for issues that are important to 4-Hers, but also like through connection with the actual global 4-H network, the main one, not the youth one, have some work and dialogue between the two to make sure youth voices are heard at that level as well.
Yeah, I like along with connecting what I heard about initiatives around issues and getting people to like be able to do that across countries, I think could be really cool, or even within countries, but having that global backing. I think that would be great.
I believe one point also, or at least why I like to join in this committee, it's for me to, or for us to become an agent of change by inspiring people with this 4-H philosophy. And the reason is because even though we have it in most of the world, there are some parts of the world that don't have it. And there are some countries, some areas of the country that they don't even know about what's 4-H. Now that I'm in the US, for example, here in Florida, nobody knows what 4-H is. And 4-H is huge in US, you know? So I wish everybody understand like the excitement that I feel when I talk about the philosophy, because I have lived it my whole life. So that's a lifestyle that nobody will or anybody will understand if they haven't lived it. So if we can become that agent of change by transmitting, you know, our experiences, and making sure that everybody can see it, even though it's an outsider, they will actually see at least a piece, and then they will start asking, they will start looking for, and they will start even learning about the philosophy, and we can have more allies throughout the world.
That's great. Thank you guys so much for sharing all of those thoughts. I think what we can do now, if this works for you, Megan, is we'll do a separate Google Doc that will start defining our terms of reference, so our role and our purpose, and you guys can also feed into that document, and then maybe we can review it at the next meeting, and that can be on our agenda for the next meeting, is to finalize our terms of reference, and also finalize who our chair and vice chair is. And then I saw in the chat a couple of other suggestions for agenda items, maybe not necessarily all at the next meeting, but we could spread those out in terms of, Dylan, you suggested that we each do a little bit of a roundtable where we share a little bit about our 4-H programs in each of the countries that you're in. That's an awesome idea. We could probably make an entire meeting just on that. And then I think, you know, as we go, there's no shortage of agenda items for us to be talking about, or for you folks to be talking about. So if we're sort of wrapping up the meeting today, we have a couple of action items that we need to work on right after this meeting, and that is to make sure that all of you feed into that Google Doc to contribute to the statement that will be read at the General Assembly tomorrow. So I'm going to say it is 7:30 a.m. my time. I'm getting confused about timing. A few of you only have time right after this meeting, so please do make sure that you feed into that document if you can right away. I'm going to say, could we say by noon my time, which is 4 hours from now?
In the next.
So if everyone can feed into that document in the next 4 hours, then at that point, the document would be handed over to who to finalize?
I'm definitely willing to take on some of that, and
Okay.
Dylan also has offered to provide some help as well. So.
Okay, is that great? Is that good with everyone? It'll be in Dylan and Logan's hands, and Megan and I can support as well. And then we will get that final document out to all of you, but then also over to Korea by the end of the day. So everyone has the next 4 hours to feed into the Google Doc. Okay?
Got it.
And sorry,
Questions?
Dylan and I are after that. Do we have a timeline to get it to you?
Can we say the end of the day, like by 4 o'clock?
Yeah, for sure. Does that work for
perfect.
you, Dylan?
And that is 4 o'clock Quebec time?
5
Eastern
o'clock your
Standard.
time.
Yeah, 5 o'clock your time. So by the end of the business day, and then I will commit to getting that over to Korea so that they can include it for the statement tomorrow. And then I've already shared the 2 presenters, and the link is in the chat to join the General Assembly tomorrow. So make sure everyone gets that and has the timing. for that. It's also on the website on the schedule.
Erin, can you send the link one more time? Because I don't think I got it.
Oh, okay. Maybe they just sent it to me.
I think it definitely helps to share again, but I think it was shared out by Megan in an email yesterday.
Okay. Perfect.
Meeting, it says meeting tomorrow, September 8th, and in that also has the link for the General Assembly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Wait, I'm trying to cut and paste it.
I was going to send the Google Doc by email to everyone, so I can also just recopy and paste the information tomorrow.
Okay, they said
I'll do that now.
They just sent it to everyone. Yeah, we'll get it to you. Okay, so that's tomorrow at 2000 hours Korea time. That's a little bit better for you, Katie. Just
or
a
maybe
little
not,
bit.
because that means she has to stay up an hour later, or a half hour later.
Okay.
Would someone be able to post the link like already for the statement? So like some of us who like need to like add on to it real quick right now so we can go sleep or work or whatever.
Yeah. And if maybe Dylan, just like, is your schedule from like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock your time available? Because then we could give a couple extra hours to everybody to add stuff in. I don't think we should need more than 2 hours to finalize that.
That's true.
I have a meeting that starts at 5, and then I wouldn't be able to look at it again until 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah, but we're gonna do it just before that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. So
perfect.
Everybody, rather than just having 4 hours, you have 6 hours. So if that's maybe not still enough time to sleep, but there is that link now to the Google Doc if people want to open it in a tab right now, and we'll email it out as well.
Did everyone get that link in the chat? Shahida, you have it? Because I know you're time sensitive today.
I also just sent it by email too.
Okay, perfect. All right, folks. Well, I think we're going to adjourn our meeting and sign off for now, but knowing that we have a little bit of homework to do. So tomorrow, what will happen during the General Assembly is I will be introducing you, and you will have your presentation to the General Assembly on the statement. So that's kind of order of operations. There are a lot of other things happening during the General Assembly, but our time slot will go like that. So there'll be introductions and then your statement. That is a live session. Okay.
Know anything specific? Or the reader?
Sorry?
Do the readers of the statement need to do anything special?
I would just say make sure you're speaking clearly and not super fast. Like we tend to kind of speak very quickly in North America, and we need to make sure that we're just taking our time. And you may want to do a little bit of a practice run. I'm not sure how you might want to coordinate that, but make sure you're sorting out who's going to say what and speaking clearly and slowly.
Yeah, especially for connection, because the connection might be in and out. Sometimes Zoom has these issues, and if somebody is speaking too fast, well, we will be having issues understanding.
Yeah. Okay. This was an awesome meeting, you guys. Thank you so much for participating. I'm really excited to be working with you guys. Megan and I are here to support you, and we're really look to you for guidance on how you want to structure your meetings and move forward. So we will be in touch with all of these next steps. But first and foremost, we will see you tomorrow at General Assembly. Okay? All right. Go have some coffee, get some sleep.
Thank you.
Don't forget to feed into that document, and we'll see you tomorrow at 2000 hours.
Bye-bye, friends.
Bye, everyone. Thanks again.
Recording stop.